I do poses to see what is not still experienced, so that it surfaces out my eyes. Huh? That's my passion. So I want to be better than what I am in the next life. And I've taught so many people, there is a progress in them. So I may become a guide to them again, so that they can learn what is not taught in this life. This is all my passion in this life. I don't think that you will find another yogi in the world who has faced the camera as I have faced. I think I was even called, that he is like a film actor in the field of yoga. So if Mr. Iyengar is there, people will certainly come. If there is no Iyengar, you can't take the conference as a success. So such impression I had created that Iyengar means star is coming. I have given 10 to 12,000 public appearances, solo, 3 hours program like an artist. I switch the light on yoga on. Please do not off it, but keep it on, those who practice, and see that you never put off that light which guides you inside. With all this, I thank you very much. Don't think in my heart of heart that some of the students who are better than many hundreds may develop this character of maintaining their superiority complex in them. That is there in me. And in the 80th birthday, I tried to break that to a great extent. I invited students to participate, a raw beginner and a ripe practitioner. But I put them all together, so I showed the way. Yoga students of mine have developed a humane approach, not a competitive technical approach. How many people in this world are interested in philosophy? Honestly, factually, this is what we have to think. How can we tell them to take the zenith of yoga, samadhi, this, or equanimity of the intelligence, or oneness in intelligence, universality of human being? It's all utopian words. I think a teacher, if he is ambitious, he cannot be a teacher. So if a teacher tries to expect something to get from the student so and so, then the teacher is partial. I have taken this lady on the platform to show that she cannot see. But God has given her a sensitive intelligence, and You will be surprised to know that she will catch faster, and probably out of all these, without the senses of perception, she will present far better than all these whom God has blessed them with eyes to see. This vertical ascendance of intelligence and expansion of the horizontal intelligence should meet exactly at the seat of the heart. And that's how the mind is brought to cooperate with the physical body. Now take the right foot out. That's it. With an exhalation, take the right arm down. This is known as the triangular pose. You can see how the triangle forms. Now you can see he is doing a circular asana, not a triangular asana. Can you see this dome?
Es ist eine Dreieckshaltung und bei ihm sieht man, dass es eine kreisförmige Haltung ist.
There is no dome here.
Da ist keine Kuppel.
And if you observe, it's not a straight triangular pose. Now you can understand. Do not allow the energy to go out of the skin. In olden days, the gurus were testing pupils. Who is fit, who is unfit. We call patra and apatra. Sometimes they were not getting patra students at all, ripe students, so the art died with them. Whether one is ripe or unripe, it does not matter to me. What little I gain, I should part with one and all, irrespective of differences in their intellectual caliber. And I have done it. If I had not done it, today millions and millions of people would not have taken to my practice.
You remember the first time we met?
Yes.
In Bombay?
Yes, 52.
And the many times you worked on the on the outside in the government house in Bombay.
On the terrace.
Yes.
You were on the terrace.
Yes. I remember that so well. And our many years in Stan.
That is unforgettable.
Well, it was wonderful. It was really wonderful.
Back in the early 1960s, Yehudi Menuhin wanted to have yoga lessons in England, and so he arranged to bring his teacher from India, Mr. B.K.S. Iyengar. The first time when Mr. Iyengar came, we didn't have any classes. He only gave a demonstration which was arranged by the Asian Music Circle.
I opened the paper one day and there was an article about Mr. Iyengar coming over here, or he was actually here to teach Yehudi Menuhin. And I was very interested in this article, in the Daily Mail, way back in 1961. A director of the Asian Music Circle put a letter in the Daily Mail to say that they were arranging a few classes for ordinary people for the first time with Mr. Iyengar, and only specially selected pupils would be allowed to attend.
In that first year, there were 2 classes a day, one in the morning, which was attended primarily by musicians, and the other in the evening for the ordinary people.
Today, millions and millions of people would not have taken to my practice. And not only that, it's going on in their generations, whether it is India or you take in the West. Those people who did in 1970s, who were my students, 1950s who were my students, their children and grandchildren are still practicing yoga. I never taught them.
one evening Mr. Iyengar produced a wad of papers and said, "I'm writing a book. This is the beginning of it." Now, Peter York was a reader for Allen and Unwin, the publishers. And he said to Beatrice, "Do you do yoga? I'm looking for a book on yoga." Beatrice put him in touch directly with Mr. Iyengar, and for the next sort of year or two, they were in correspondence until the book was finally finished, and Allen and Unwin agreed to it being published.
So when we stand in Tadasana, if you observe, you can get an idea of what Tadasana is. Intelligence should be on the feet, not only on the head.
Intelligenz soll nicht nur im Kopf sein, sondern in den Füßen.
That is the harmony of yoga. You have seen their poses. I need not explain. You can get how the mind has to be get intermingled in the frame of the body. The body is the frame of the mind. The mind is the photo. You can see this is known as the dog which stretches. That's why it is called Shwana, means a dog. How the dog lifts his head with 4 legs, front legs. And Adhomukha Shvanasana is how the dog stretches their hind legs. So the rishis, having seen the various movements of the animals, the birds, they started playing with their bodies, building up the quality of those animals or birds in their system to understand the behavioral patterns of the animals with the human beings. You can see my chest and their chest.
Können meine Brust sehen und die Brust der anderen.
So my chest appears like a dog's chest. And they do. This is not dog, actual dog.
One time, Hepzibah Menuhin was at some VIP education meeting, and she started talking to a man called Peter McIntosh. And they started talking about yoga and that he would like it to be introduced into the adult education.
I'm a qualified teacher. I qualified, obviously, and I qualified in 1992. And I've been teaching yoga since then. Before that, I taught fitness, sports. But I mean, of course, my first love is teaching yoga because it's so multi-layered. Iyengar Yoga has got a very good reputation in terms of training, safety, structured syllabus, and so because of this reputation it is attractive in an educational establishment.
Yoga is also an art, though it has got a science. Even music is an art, music has a science. Sculpture is an art, it has a science. So artistic side is different, scientific side is different. The difference is art is an experiential subject. Science is an experimental subject. friends of yoga, admirers of yoga, and practitioners of yoga. Before I start on the subject of yoga, I appreciated the youngsters who presented in a group with a background music, which I think is the method to present this philosophical subject in an art forum so that people get ignited and interested to practice yoga.
The spreading of Iyengar yoga in Europe is mostly the credit goes to Guruji's very hard work, because since many years he came regularly in Europe. He conducted classes, intensives, teacher trainings, assessments, and we are very happy to tell you that now in all European countries Iyengar yoga is taught, in all major countries of Europe, in all major cities. It goes from the countries like Germany, Holland, France, etc., till the remotest parts of the Siberia. I can tell that there is not any place in Europe that now we haven't certified Iyengar yoga teachers. Associations, they are coming up to promote his teaching in a correct way, because it is getting spread in a very big speed nowadays.
My name is Elena, and I'm from Russia. Guruji was invited in our country, and it was invitation from Ministry of Health and Ministry of Sports. After his visit, many people were very excited about this great guru, and from this time many people in different towns began practice really yoga, Iyengar yoga. And I started my serious practice, and after 2 years I started to teach yoga. And in this time I began to travel a lot for different towns, for example, St. Petersburg, Yaroslavl, Sevastopol, Krasnoyarsk, Khabarovsk. The interest of Iyengar yoga was very, very high, and it is going like that in nowadays.
The first time I met Guruji was in 1987. It was an Iyengar yoga convention that was being held at Harvard University in Boston, Massachusetts. Guruji's desire always has been to create community in the yoga community, in the Iyengar yoga community. And in 1990, it was decided that there would be the second Iyengar yoga convention would take place in Southern California. In the United States, there are now 12 or 13 regional
Today I would like to discuss with you one particular program that we have, which is a certificate program in yoga, specifically Iyengar yoga. The curriculum of the program, in fact, was suggested by PKS Iyengar, and we think it's a very fine program and a very academically demanding program, as well as, of course, of those of you who may know Iyengar yoga, a physically demanding program.
With the Iyengar yoga and with yoga specifically, one learns persistence. The postures teach this, you know, to be persistent, to be enduring. So the whole yoga community, in particular the Iyengar community, has really grown over these last 20 years. I think as Iyengar pointed out the other day that they were, I think in 1960 and 1970, 79, when I first met them, they were like a community of 2,000 Iyengar yoga students, and now they're like 4 million.
When I was 9 or 10 years old, I don't know really what happened to my health, but after a year or so, he realized that this is something very serious. And when he took me to some other doctor, they realized that it was nephritis and both the kidneys were damaged. To tell you frankly, in those days our financial condition was not very good. Then my father one day told me, look, this is very difficult to maintain all the time with these drugs because they are heavily drugging you. You just do yoga or just forget about life. Do or die, that's what the word he used for me. And I said, no, I must now take to this practice only because this is something giving me life. And that's how I started doing yoga. Or my father is special that he is teaching and others are doing. And that's how I picked up. And that was I think the seed of the interest, which later I realized that just looking at him, so many things we could learn, so many things we achieved, like courage especially. For whole of the month, if they keep on doing this, if they find a change during the menstruation, dysmenorrhea is lessened, and menorrhagia, where too much of flow is there, it's all sort of, they find the relief coming. They get rid of those problems. And those who have got problem with the menstrual cycle, which is irregular menstrual cycles, their hormonal change occurs. That's why, in a way, it is a boon for ladies. This is the pose in which they find restful. The thyroid tension is also lessened. I explained that how the shoulder bone goes up, the throat is relaxed, so the pressure on the thyroid is lessened. And that's why whether in a hypothyroid or hyperthyroid process, though rest of the asanas they have to do, this is the one which helps them a lot. Centralize the body, and though you are in a lying down position, your back rib should not go to a sleepy state, especially the rib region which is below the bottom floating rib. If slightly comes upward, you find the chest rejuvenating. Let me tell you about Guruji one thing. Though he is a man that without having any medical background, but still very much sure about what he is doing, he can handle any problems.
For me, it is more than violin. It's not just the wood. It is more than diamond and gold, because it came from the greatest musician, Yehudi Menuhin, my father's pupil. Yoga is actually good for every profession, vocation, and violin can be no exception. When I practice yoga, whatever is my experience, although it is beyond words, and I could put it because of emotional touch to my language, musical touch to my language, I could articulate it.
Not only can violinists learn a little bit of yoga, but much better, a yoga father can produce such a wonderful violinist.
Healing is an art. Science is a technique. Today the market is flooded with drugs, with various pills. Do you mean to say health can be purchased through pills, by swallowing pills? Or health has to be sweated? Even health may be tamasic, health may be rajasic, health may be sattvic. Just using the word health has no meaning at all. Each and every cell should be ringing with a bell that I'm healthy, I'm healthy, I'm healthy. I consider that as a sattvic, pure, illuminative health. And that yoga gives. The fire of yoga, if it has to be burned in the hearts of the people like you only can do that as I am with it. I was at the front line. Now I want people to forget me when I am still alive. So that is why I got isolated myself.